What?
Not right now.
Yeah. All right, starting the stream. It's funny, as soon as I hit start streaming, it goes from good to bad. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything, so. Let me make sure we have audio. I just want to make sure we have audio here.
Sure. What's up, Sean? Love you.
Yeah, we got audio. Okay, good. All right. That's what I wanted. Okay. Yes, I wanted to make sure we had audio and it was actually streaming, unlike the catastrophe that happened the Friday night at...
So when did you realize that it wasn't streaming?
At the very end. I did not realize it until I was closing it down, and then it came up and gave me this error message, and I'm like, what? I've never seen this error before. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, it didn't record, it didn't broadcast, it didn't do anything.
Wow.
So.
Yay,
we're on. Yeah, okay, so I've got to pull up another window real quick so that I can actually go through and look at all of the episodes, because like I said, I have literally not done I've been so busy. I was like, okay, this will be our 101 episode, and this will be, we can get together and we can celebrate doing 100 episodes. Yeah. And I didn't have a chance to look at anything. So I barely put any kind of show notes together, which is completely crazy for me. And I'm not prepared, and we only have 2 people, and I'm just like, well, this is starting off the next 100 with a bang.
Yes.
Excellent. So, but it's good. We'll be all right.
It's all good, man. We've carried the show before.
Yes. Yes, we have. So, let's see here. I'm pulling up the old Epically Geeky website.
So
do you remember the opening question that I sent out?
I do.
Okay. I'm still thinking about what my answer is, because honestly, even if I thought about it like for a long time, I don't know if I really have one answer. Like,
I have an answer for you, and yeah, I'll explain when we get there.
Very good. All right, let's see here. Shows Epically Geeky. Okay.
So Lainey didn't show up.
She apparently has a date tomorrow night, but I don't know about tonight. So
tomorrow, come on. She could have had a date tonight with 2 strapping young men, and
sure, we'll go with that.
A foreigner and a local guy.
And her brother-in-law. Exciting.
Not awkward. Whatever. Shut up.
Yeah, totally. Let's see here. I'm looking through these episodes. I remember episode 1. We'll start talking about that here in a minute, though. But yeah, I remember episode 1, and of course, it's not the page is still loading, so it's loaded like the majority of the information, but not the actual episode title. And I'm like, kind of need that to figure out what the episode was about.
A little bit.
So,
yeah.
Okay, here we go. And there it is. Okay, yeah, I am really thinking about doing a redo on the site. Adding it to my ever-growing list of to-do. So, but
Sean has a to-do list now as well, because he's
really
moved and he's fixing up his new place.
Oh, okay.
And he throwed his back. So, Sean, I hope you feel better.
Oh, dude, that sucks, man.
Yeah, he was pouring concrete. It's like, dude, don't do that. Maybe that's why he's all bitchy about us not starting the show yet. His meds.
Yeah, Sean. So, but yeah, I mean, of course, the to-do list just keeps getting longer and longer. And of course, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, I'm working on this new Proton pack. Yes. And, okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at something else. My apologies.
Good TV.
Anyway, no, so I'm working on this Proton pack, and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, okay, what's going to be the quickest, easiest way to do this? But I'm also thinking in the back of my head, how can I do like a walkthrough or maybe plans or something for it? So I'm actually kind of keeping that in the back of my head as well. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is, I'm going to try to focus on making 95% of it out of PVC pipe and EVA foam. so that number one, it's light as hell, and it'll be con safe and everything. I'm not doing electronics in this one. This is simply a stunt pack, so that when we go to cons and people go, "Hey, can I take a picture with the proton pack on?" We can go, "Yep, absolutely. Here's the one you can have." Yeah, because you're not putting mine on. Nope. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm like, there's these little bits and everything, and I'm just like, yeah, I could buy some of the actual parts and everything, and I could do like I did on mine and Laney's, and like use some of the materials. And I'm like, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design some of these pieces, and I'll 3D print them, and I'll use them, and I'll just tell people if I do a walkthrough or whatever with it, I'll be like, listen, here's some of the things that you could do with like some of the little knobs and stuff. Like all the knobs and stuff on my proton pack are literally like the tops of like vitamin bottles and stuff like that. And what I'm thinking is, I'll just tell them, hey, listen, if you want to go the cheap route, you could do that. Just go get you some, bottles or whatever, and get the tops and put them on there. Works perfectly fine. Or you can go to my Epically Geeky Etsy site, and you could buy all of the little pieces. Here's the instructions on how to make 90% of it. Here's the last 10%. Just make it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that may be something that I end up doing. Of course, that's a little more work for me, and I really was trying to get this thing taken care of before Austin Comic-Con, which is literally 3 weeks from now. But I'm gonna try to get as much of it done as possible. My PKE meter should be here before then, which I'm really excited about. Do what?
That'd be good.
Yes. But I went ahead and ordered Spirit of Halloween was out of the ghost traps, and I saw the ghost trap and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I might end up picking one up sometime later. And then I saw a guy, he bought a very simple, it's a modified vape pen that does smoke, and I sent it on the back channel, and he's like, dude, this was super easy. I just wired it in here, put the battery pack in, closed it back up, and whenever he hit the smoke and it opened up and it was smoking and there's lights and shit, I'm like, oh damn, that's gonna look awesome. So because like the wiring on this thing behind me is ridiculous, and I'm just like, oh, if I can already get a smoking ghost trap, I'm already 90% of the way there. It doesn't have to be screen accurate. This one can still be screen accurate and sit there. Like what I started using, it's hard to see here, but behind me, I have our flyers printed out sitting inside of it, asking, telling people, hey, we're hiring. So that can sit out there and be, grab the flyer from the ghost trap, and then, hey, you want to see the other ghost trap? So. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Sean's asking, who's going to be on tonight? You're looking at it, dude. And y'all will be on as well. So
big show.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we're saving the super big show. I am going to announce this on the show itself, but
you are going to announce what I think you're going to announce.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do what? Yeah, no, right.
Told Sean yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay, so should I save it? No, Sean tends to drop off before the end of the show, though.
Yeah, he does.
You know what? Okay, we're gonna announce it. So if you're following the Marginally Geeky show, we've been reading a book series, which, by the way, Jen finished it. She finished book 5 tonight, and I think I can't remember exactly what her comment was. She was like, "Yeah, that was mindfuck." But she finished book 5, and anyway, so we've been reading this book series, and if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you saw that a couple weeks ago at Epically Geeky Con we had her and me and Lainey all dressed up as Phil and Gwen and Britt, and took a picture and sent it and posted it, and we posted it to both Scott Meyer, the author of the book's Facebook page, and also the one for the actual book itself. And we got a reply, and it was something like to the lines of, "This is blowing my mind. This is awesome. Yes, I would do an interview." So I've gone back and forth with Mr. Meyer multiple times on email, and we have settled on September 15th at 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern. We will be doing a live broadcast and doing an interview with Scott Meyer, the author of the Magic 2.0 series. It is our first author interview, and I cannot wait.
Dude, I'm so excited.
I am too.
It's so awesome. And good on him for getting back to us as well. So, yeah, so excited.
Okay, in the chat, I see Sean says, lol, Richard, who, by the way, I've been talking to on and off. He's yet another Canadian. I don't know what it is about me and Canadians and podcasting, but it is. Yeah, Richard had a podcast. He's actually rebooting stuff himself. And we've been talking about setting up and doing live streams and everything. And he writes, the end of Epically Geeky. He says, and the start of Ultimately Geeky. No, we're not doing that. I just got licensed for a con. We're not changing the name. They would kill me.
Can we change it to Spectacular Geeky?
You know what's funny? Okay, so of course we announced, Epically Geeky Expo.
Yes.
And it's on the site and it's all, on Facebook or whatever. And here come the haters. Now, here's what's funny is if you listen to the show, one of the questions I asked was, you figure out, hey, Thanos had a pretty good idea there, but here's what you're going to do. You're going to snap your fingers and either A, all of like the people who like steal people's identity thieves and, credit card thieves and stuff like that. Either they're all going to be gone or all the internet haters. And most everyone chose the other one. And I understand why, because that does ruin people's lives. I'm like, but you can teach people not to, not to give out the credit card number, not to click on phishing email and stuff. I'm like, haters are just going to be there. And I'm just going to tell you, they're gone, in my opinion. Well, anyway, after reading some of the comments, Jennifer's like, I want to change my answer. I'm like, what? What's wrong? So I get to look, and there were some, they weren't really that bad. They were just, some of them were just like, well, I understand why we're changing it, but it's always going to be, it's always going to be Geekfest to me. And I'm like, I understand. That's fine. I understand it. You can call it Geekfest for the rest of your life. I don't care. It's just, it is what it is. We had to do this, so this is what we did. Yep. But this one person wrote something about, it just kind of seems corny or something along those lines. They thought the name Epically Geeky sounded a little corny or something. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's your opinion. And literally later that day, I got a notification about a convention that's happening, which, by the way, I got to tell you about this. This is interesting. This convention that's going to be up in the Dallas area, and it's literally called Galactic Swag. And I'm just like, and you thought Epically Geeky was corny? But the big thing about this one up in Dallas area, is some collector is going to have like movie quality Ecto, freaking Batmobile, Light Cycle from Tron. Like there's some legitimately awesome vehicles going to be there. That's and cool. I'm just like, that's cool. But yeah. So all right.
At the Fan Expo, we did have I'll get into some of the stuff that was about, yeah. Anyway, so they had the Jeep from
Jurassic Park
there.
Nice.
They did have the DeLorean. It was gorgeous.
Always.
But yeah, anyway, we can get started.
Yes, we can. All right, here we go. All right, Sean said, holy crap. Yes. Yes, because if you've been reading the books. All right, here we go. Let me do the intro, muting the mic.
To all things geeky.
Welcome back to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 101. I am your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. We're changing things up. We've hit 100 episodes, so I thought we're going to change things up a little bit. And we're actually kind of hearkening back to the original episode because I started off that original episode asking an open-ended question. and it had turned into a nightmare because people just like him and Hod, and I'm just like, oh God, I've got to start doing like either or questions. So that's what we did. And then we expanded to 3 answers, and then we expanded to 4. And I'm like, I am not coming up with 5 answers for stuff. So we're going back to the original. We're going to do an open-ended question, but I'm going to let everyone know what the question is beforehand so they have plenty of time to think about. So with that said, tonight's opening question is, what TV show have you stuck with the longest? My only guest, which is perfectly fine because we can rock this by ourselves, is Ray, man. What's going on, dude?
What's going on? So,
what TV show have you stuck with the longest?
So this one took a lot of thought, because if you just want to stick with like the longest TV show I've watched, it would have to be The Simpsons because of how long they've been running.
Exactly.
I've jumped in and out of that, and there's times that I just haven't followed it, and there's other series that I just tried to get into and couldn't, or got into it and then they changed the times, so I wasn't able to watch it as much as often. So the one show that I have absolutely stuck with, and even though they're taking a year and a half off, I am still going to be watching it when the next episode drops, and that is Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, okay.
I've absolutely been hooked since day one from watching that. And I will, they're taking a year and a half off, right? Like it's been so long.
Yes.
But I can't wait for the next episode.
I dropped off a while back, and I've had some things spoiled for me, which is fine. That's one of those shows. Even if you know something's happening, you still don't know exactly how it happened. And I won't spoil any of the stuff that was spoiled for me. So I know, like, whenever that scene, these scenes come up, I know kind of what's going to happen, but I just don't know how it's going to happen, which is perfectly fine, because I do want to go back and basically I'm a season behind on. I haven't watched the newest season of Westworld, which I really enjoyed the first season, but I do want to go back through all of Game of Thrones and then maybe try to watch the last season live. We'll see if it happens or not. I'm trying to think about this. This is I didn't have a lot of time to think about this week, but some of the show, I'm like you, there's some shows that I've like kind of dipped in and out of. And I would say probably, I don't know how many seasons it ran for, but one show that I started and completely finished was Parks and Rec. Like, I even fell off the Office after the last season or two. Yep. But I stuck with Parks and Rec from the very beginning to the very end. And I know that was several seasons long. So that would probably be my answer. That's the one. Now I have gone back and watched some shows where, and I've gone back and watched the seasons or whatever. I guess you could almost say maybe, well, no, I wouldn't say I've even watched Doctor Who that long, because I watched maybe Doctor Who. Doctor Who might be a close second, if not technically my first. So,
off from Doctor Who, I haven't been keeping up since Capaldi. I dropped off again. So I
have not watched any of the Capaldi stuff. I'm interested in the new Doctor. I just heard kind of stuff about Capaldi. And what's funny is he's the big draw that's coming in 3 weeks at Austin Comic-Con. He's the big draw there. So
listen, I watched the first season of Capaldi. I didn't mind it. Mm-hmm. I just never got into the second, and then the kids wanted to start watching it, so we started all the way back from the Ninth Doctor on again, and
right.
And so we've been doing that and trying to catch them up, and we're into the Matt Smith era now. So
wow, okay,
yeah, it's been a long draw. So, but anyway, we'll get through it. And you know what? Like I mean, I could say Survivor. Like we've been very faithful to Survivor. We've been watching that one, but I don't consider that to be like a storyline show. That's just guilty pleasure.
I just thought of another one that technically I'd have to go back and look at the seasons to figure out which one had a longer season and everything. But another show that I started with and ended was Next Generation. Like, I watched all of Next Generation. That was Saturday night. Yeah. The guys would come over. We'd watch that. And I don't remember if American Gladiators was before or after it, but like, that's what we were doing. Like, that was the shit right there.
Yeah, that one I tried to stick with as long as I could, but just not having control of the TV when I was a kid kind of made it harder. So
I just kind of looking through here. It's been good since David Tennant left. Yeah. Well, no, I like Matt Smith. Tennant's my doc. I mean, granted, I started with 9, but Tennant's Tennant's my doctor, as it were. So.
Oh, okay. The 9th is mine. Through and through.
But all right. So anyway, I thought we would. Number one, I thought we were gonna have more people on tonight, but it's all good. But I thought we would go back and look at the first 100 episodes, and who knows, if we get a big group next time we get together for a show, we may do this again. Who knows? We'll just see. So, but no, I want to go back and look at the first 100 episodes, and we're not going to go through every single one of them because that will take forever. Because my boy Ray's got to get up early. But I just want to kind of go through, and if there was anything that kind of stuck out about those episodes, like I said, that first episode, it was that was a big deal because we had previously done the website, we had done One Man Asylum, and we did group therapy. And, I put everything in hiatus whenever I had the boys, and several years had gone by. The boys were getting older. They were getting to bed on time. And I was like, you know what? I think I can start doing a show again. So I reached out to pretty much the whole crew from the previous one, everything else, like, Cy and Jay and my brother and Lewis and Chris. And I was like, hey, listen, thinking about getting the band back together. Do y'all want in? And everyone jumped in. So yeah, that first episode we put out on December 10th. We weren't even streaming them live. I think we just recorded it and then put it out there. So
yep.
But yeah, that first episode, I had gotten the idea from a tweet that I saw. It was for the Death of Spock Christmas ornament that came out.
Right.
And I was like,
that's right.
That is such an iconic scene, and it's such a great scene, an emotional scene, but not really what I want to see on my Christmas tree.
Nope.
So everyone came up with horrible Hallmark ornaments. Some people came up with some really bad ones. What's funny is some of the ones that I came up with literally were either real or like I had said Walking Dead, and they literally had just come out with Walking Dead. Now I don't think they've done Merle and the Governor. I was specifically trying to think of like bad ones to do, but and then I said like Predator, and then the one I said for specifically my brother was the Dark Crystal. But yeah, that first episode we did. We had some fun doing that one. So, and it was at that point, let's see, I'm looking through here. The next episode we did was Geeky Either Or, which was pretty simple. We just go through and did some either or questions. Which superpower would you rather have? Flight or invisibility? Which skill set would you rather max out? Arts and crafts or cooking and baking? Stuff like that. So, we did that. Episode 3 is the only one I have not hosted. That was way back when I originally kind of had the idea of what if we had a usual group of people and we kind of took turns hosting it, kind of like there's another show that I watch called I used to listen to called the what is it? Nerd Lunch, Atomic Geeks. And that's what they would do. There were 3 main guys. And each time there was a new episode, one of the guys would host it, and the other 2 would chime in or whatever. So it kind of split things up. And originally that was kind of my idea. Obviously, as it worked out. But yeah, Cyrus actually hosted that one, and he was basically looking at movie trailers and was asking the rest of the group, and it was just Mannon and Jay, what they kind of thought about it, and some of the coming movies or whatever. I need to go back and listen to that one because I think that would be interesting, especially depending on the movies that were coming out. So
I'll have to listen to that one again.
Yeah. Episode 4, we did Geeky 2016 Geek Goals. So basically kind of like New Year's resolutions, things that you'd want to start, things that you'd want to finish, something you want to learn or improve or whatever. I said, let's see here, something I want to start, open invitations to go to events. And I have started doing that. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to this thing. Would you like to go or whatever? Something you plan to finish. My Ghostbusters costume. What's funny is I am literally behind me. You can't see it, but behind me, I am working on a 3rd proton pack. It's not going to have lights and sound. It's going to be a stunt pack, but yeah, that's funny. Learn to improve barbecue. I'm not freaking getting that down. Something I want to stop over planning. Yeah, that hasn't happened. But yeah, so that was the first 4 episodes. We're getting pretty close here to a particular episode where let's see, not yet. I'm still waiting for this episode to come up. I'm sure you know what number it is when you joined us. Episode number 5 was Mashup. Yes. And basically, this is something else. I want to go back and do this again. You mentioned this before the show, looking back on some of these. We need to go back and do some of these. So like, I took 3 die, and like the first die was a classic movie monster. The second one was a genre, and the third one was a type of media. And we rolled the 3 die, and you had to come up with something. And we gave everyone like 60 seconds to kind of come up with a base idea. And what we figured out is as the episode went on, so everyone jump in and help out, because that's when we started getting some gold coming out of that. So, yeah. Let's see here. That was episode number 5. Number 6, Saturday morning cartoon draft. This was a great one. This is also the one where Lainey joined us for the first time. This was January 2016, and basically, like our normal drafts, I told everyone, hey, listen, come up. You had to come up with, I think, draft 5 or 6 cartoons, and then you had to come up with serials as well. And it was one of those things. Like almost every time someone answered something, was like, "You bastard! I was going to get that next." That was a lot of fun. That was episode 6. Keep moving up here. Episode number 7. Oh, and there he is. So it's at one point, Chris goes, hey, listen, my husband's been listening and he really kind of wants to be on the show. I think he'd be a really good fit. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Bring him on. We'll see how he works out. And dude, you're one of my best friends now. Like it's awesome. If nothing else, this show and this site has been great for nothing else, but like getting to know people and becoming really good friends with people. So, but we did Epically Geeky action figures.
Yes, we did. What a great way to introduce yourself, by the way. I liked how we started very early in our season, I guess, our show, where we were able to do that, where we can show a little bit of ourselves and people get to know who you are. So I was actually really glad that I was introduced in that one.
Yeah, so like I'm looking through how I told everyone they had to come up with how they were dressed, any phrases. So like there was a button on the back or whatever you'd hit, and like it would say different things. Your accessories, your play set, your vehicle, and then an alternate version. And yeah, so that was a fun episode. So
really
I'm still waiting to go to a convention where I can get a full body scan, because I am going to fucking turn myself into an action figure. It's going to happen sometime. But let's see here. So that was episode number 7. Episode number 8 was, let's moving up here. New Geeky Holidays. This was me, Cy, and Lainey, and we were basically coming up with new geek holidays. Lainey thought it was blasphemous that I was repurposing Halloween for cosplay day, which I'm like, it's basically the same thing.
Not far off.
So, I want to have Super Saturday. I said everyone needs to go back and relive, Saturday mornings eating cereal, watching, cartoons and stuff. So,
see, Idiot Heroes. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. Episode 12 stood out for me.
Okay, yeah. Let's see here. Odd Food Pairings. That was the first time that Jennifer joined us.
Okay. Yeah.
That was an interesting one. And the reason why I invited her on that episode is because she's a bit of a foodie, particularly pizza, but she's a bit of a foodie. That was an interesting episode because, like I said, it was the first time that she was on, but we also discovered something about our friend Cyrus. Cyrus doesn't like to mix things at all. So every time I bring up, I'm like, well, what about this and this? He's just like, why? Yep. Why would you ever do that? I'm like, that actually sounds kind of good to me.
Salt on the popcorn.
Yeah, some of the stuff was like pretty simple. Like now, some of it, and what was funny is some of the stuff like people tried. Like I think Chris had talked about having salt on the rim of something like chocolate milk or whatever. I'm like, well, how's that? And she's like, actually, it's not bad. So, but yeah, that was an interesting one. New Disney Afternoon. Here's what's funny. That is one of our most downloaded episodes.
Really?
Yes, 2016, March 1st, 2016. That is one of our biggest episodes. And I don't know if it's just because it's tagged Disney and Marvel and everything else, but we all came up with new Disney afternoon cartoons. That might be a fun one to go back and look at again. So, 11, obscure quotes. That was a fun one. We had our friend Derek on as a guest. That was another one that we kind of got to express a little bit about ourselves because we were able to, we were talking about the quotes that most people may or may not get. And like you really kind of should get if you're gonna hang out with me. So number 12, Tournament of Idiot Superheroes. This was just you, me, and Cyrus.
What a blast. That was so
I had to do so much research for this because I'm not a huge comic book guy. So I was looking up stuff and I kept coming back to the same stuff. And I think that was the thing that all three of us kept coming back to. Were like, this guy has to be on there because this guy was on every list.
Yeah. The bullet guy. He's the one that won it.
Bullethead or what was his name?
He thought he could cure criminals with a serum.
With a serum, yes. That was when you were reading that off. I'm just like, you're making this up, aren't you? You gotta be making
this up. I'm not stupid enough to make it up.
Episode 13 stuck out to me. And the reason why, and it's actually one of the ones when I'm giving the elevator pitch to people about this show, this is one of the ones I always go back to. Episode 13, Voting for the Lesser of Two Evils. It was the beginning of the big year for, the presidential election here in the U.S., and everyone was like, well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. I had so much fun on that one, raking each other over the coals, but for the character they were representing. The fact that Cyrus kept going, oh, well, you're just a fucking robot that has no emotion. And, Lewis is like, no, Shredder is the guy. We're like, dude, you can even fucking conquer New York City. How are you going to run the U.S.?
I like that Cy kept trying to, get Cobra Commander to be on his side. Yeah, we agree with the Cobra Commander on this one.
That was a fun episode.
That was great. I think we're doing audio only at the time.
Yeah, we might have been. I'd have to go back and look at that to see if we were doing all those. So
positive we are.
Let's see here. Episode 14, good and bad book to movie adaptations. We could definitely do an update to that one here.
Yep.
In next year or so. Bolden actually joined us on that one. So, it was nice having a librarian on for talking about book to movie conversion. So, let's see here. So, episode 15, The List, Sega Genesis. This is one of those things that I came up with where it was like, this isn't a draft. This is where we're going to vote and figure out what the top 5 of something were. Yeah. And we did the Sega Genesis. We need to go back and do that with some of the other video game consoles. Of course, I need to see if I can get Cyrus on because, he'd love to be on one of those. So,
Coat of Arms was next.
Coat of Arms was a good, I'll be honest with you. I was pretty proud I came up with that one.
That was good.
And I like the answers that we got out of it, too. Like, we got some really good stuff out of it.
Yeah, we should actually go back and make those coat of arms.
Yes, that would. Yeah, I'd have to figure out how to do that. Oh man, if I could print it, that would be awesome. That would be awesome, actually. Yeah. Let's see here. 2017 summer movie draft game. Okay, so at this point we were still doing the movie draft. Yep. We've since stopped doing it because I didn't have a lot of people playing and it was eating up a lot of my time. So I'm just like, whatever. But yeah, we were just looking at the movies that were coming out in 2017 or in summer of 2016. Let me see what my show notes on that one said. That was number. Oh my God! Movies that were coming out: Captain America: Civil War, Finding Dory, Suicide Squad, X-Men Apocalypse, Star Trek Beyond. I've heard Independence Day Resurrection. Heard it was garbage.
It was.
TMNT Out of the Shadows. Jason Bourne, Secret Life of Pets, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Wow, that was not a good summer.
Episode.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, that's been here since I read that. Okay. The next one was Tabletop Games, and this was pretty much just Lewis and I talking. So yeah, we talked about tabletop games the whole time.
On this show, by the way.
Do what?
We're gonna lose back on this show.
Yeah, we do. We got to get him back on there. So, best and worst TV moms. It was Mother's Day was coming up. That was definitely one where people had some different opinions about some moms.
Yes, he did.
Which was fine. That was one of the things that made it fun. So, what was funny is we had moms show up on the best moms list and then literally show up on the worst moms list. So,
and you know what? I think everybody would concede that the one that was kind of on both is probably
at least her real life representation. Yes.
Yes. Dear God.
Let's see here. So, episode 20. Now, this was one of my bright ideas that never came to fruition. I was like, it was unfinished business. And what the idea was we were going to have a core group of people. And if you couldn't make it on an episode, you were going to be allowed the chance to come on and basically get caught up and giving answers and anything else that you wanted to do. And we did it the one time, and that's
yeah, we were supposed to do that every couple of
every 20 or so episodes. Yeah, that just did not happen. Episode 21 was we couldn't, like, I think it got taken down off of YouTube, which is understandable because it was great TV theme songs, and I allowed everyone to come on and play the theme songs on their phone, and man, that was a good one.
So we can't monetize it, but we could post it for free, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I think we couldn't monetize it, but we could post it still. So
we can post it for free. So that's yeah.
Which we're not monetized anymore anyway, since YouTube changed all their freaking rules and everything. We're not monetized anymore anyway. So, this would actually be a fun one to go back and look at again. Episode 22, Life Swap, where we were swapping the lives of two different people.
I had so much fun with this one because I would go back and figure out, okay, who's somebody I really hate, find out the birth date, and then whoever was close to dying around that time that I really wanted to be alive, I just swapped them.
Yeah, we kind of fudged the rules a little bit as we were going on. So,
yeah. Kardashian or Kurt Cobain was my favorite.
Sean says, "I love that episode, Eugene. The tabletop game one. Okay, maybe we should. I guess I can have Lou on again. We can talk about board games again. So
that'd be fun.
Actually, you know who else would be fun having on there if we could get Will on, because he's a huge board game person. So let's see here. Almost at level 23. Episode 23, Love of Cosplay, and Rudy joined us for this one. I thought it was a little interesting, but Jen and Lainey were both on. This is back when I still listed people as special guests instead of just being, a guest. Of course, she hadn't fully joined it, but Jennifer was on for that one. So probably need to go back, and there's definitely some people I could do a cosplay episode with, and another one would be a lot of fun. So episode 24 was Guys Weekend 2016. This was the unbeknownst to this was the second to last Guys Weekend, because Guys Weekend 2018 turned into Geeks Weekend because reasons. But anyway, that was just us sitting around and talking about why we started Guys Weekend and this fun stuff that we were doing. That year there was only 4 of us. It was me, Cy, Rudy, and Lou. But we still had a lot of fun. We still had a blast. So let's see, which one am I on? I think I'm on this one now. Moving through. Come on now. All right, waiting for the page to load. Anyway, or maybe it's this one. All right. So anyway, what was the last episode that I just said? It was Guys Weekend, yeah.
Yes.
24, yeah. Okay, so episode 25, we did the best moms, so why not do the best dads? This one was not quite as controversial.
No.
Well, it was, but it wasn't. Because one of the number one on everyone's list has gone on to become infamous.
Probably
Cliff Huxtable. Yeah, Cliff Huxtable might have to move to the character can stay.
Well, and so Chris and I were talking about this, as horrible as he is and as horrible of things that he did.
Yes.
There are some great things that he did as well. He was all about making sure there was funds for kids for certain things and stuff like that. There was some positive things. what I will say is that he was a positive role model on TV. So when the camera was rolling, he was a positive role model in that way. So there's that. But yeah, off screen, forget it. Which, you know what, you can say about a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah, it's definitely coming out about a lot of people. So episode 26 was Geek Layers. This I thought was another fun one, even though I didn't think everyone was like, I don't really have a layer, but I've got a corner and I'll talk about what's in my corner. So that might be something kind of fun to look back at again. So let's see here. 27 patriotic movie scenes. This one was really interesting between me and Cy and you and Chris explaining what is patriotic there, what's patriotic here. That was really, I really enjoyed that one because it was eye-opening to kind of see,
what we consider to be patriotic.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was a fun one. Let's see here. 28 reboot, remake, or sequel. I still think that would be another fun one to do again.
We've had 2 of those.
Yeah.
2 of those, and we should do it again.
Yeah. So we should definitely try that one again. So 29 line sitting memories. That was a fun one. I like all the ones where we go back and just talk about personal stories sometimes. Sometimes that's just because there's no research and it's just a lot of fun. So episode 30, this is another one that I go back and talk about some of our really old episodes. This is another one I give people when I give the elevator pitch for the show is fictional house hunting. That was a lot of fun.
I don't remember that one.
That was the one where basically you had to come up with 3 different places you would live, kind of like on House Hunters and fictional worlds, and then at the very end decide which one you were going to go to. Like, let's see here. What were my notes on this one? I said Republic City from Legend of Korra, San Francisco from Big Hero 6, and then like New York from Ghostbusters, and of course I picked New York from Ghostbusters. Let's see here. Episode 31 was a mashup.
I heard this one a bit, and I remember I do like the mashups. They're fun.
Yes, they are. And the fact that there's no prep. It's just literally, all right, listen, this is what we're doing. Just be ready to roll. So
there you go.
Yep. Be awake. Episode 32, live from Geekfest 2016. That was another one where we had either or questions, unbeknownst to what it would become. Episode 33, Superhero Summer Olympics. This was me and Cy and Derek, and that was a lot of fun. Once again, I had to do a lot of research on that one. So, and unfortunately, a lot of it came down to how are we going to decide this? Because like literally, they're all just like fucking. They're superheroes. Like who's going to beat who at this point is just going to come down to like who gets tired first, I guess. So
that'd be an interesting one to look at again, because since then now you've seen Captain America go up against Thanos, and even Thanos is like, whoa, like
exactly, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to revisit that one.
We may have to look at that one again. This is another one I'd like to go after. Assigned movie roles.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, where we did several different movies, and we'd have to go back and of course we couldn't do the same movies we're doing now, but we could definitely find a couple of movies and figure out who everyone's going to be in it. So that would be a lot of fun. That was one of the first ones that I had movie homework for, because we had decided we were going to do Empire Records, and I had never seen it, and I was like, all right, well, I gotta watch this movie so I can get on with the show. So
you know what, I'd love to revisit that one, because the other thing that we did at the time was we threw a couple of people under the bus because they didn't show up. And
I forgot about that.
So you know what? I would throw Cy under the bus because he hasn't been showing up.
Yep, we may have to do that. Let's see here. Episode 35, awesome podcast and web series, where we basically just talked about a lot of podcasts and stuff that we listen to. Man, I bet. Hold on, I've got to look at my notes for that because I got a feeling some of these have changed. That's still the same. That's still the same. That's still the same. That's no longer a thing. That one's okay. You know what? That one hasn't changed that much. So
okay.
I've actually figured out some of the podcasts I listen to have just kind of like fallen off, and I'm like, man, maybe I should pick up some more. Of course, I've been going back and listening, but anyway, Episode 36, Geeky Aspirations, where we were basically trying to well, that was kind of a weird way that I wrote that down. That's interesting, Eugene. We were coming up with things that we were wanting to learn about, things we were wanting to do. Let's see, prop making, foam smithing. Yep, I'm actually starting to do some of that. Sewing, still haven't done it. Console repair, still haven't done it. Cake decorating, I've done a little bit, but not much. Arduino program, still. Man, never mind. We're not doing that one. I'm not doing any of that. Anyway, 37, summer movie game wrap up, where we talked about how the movies ended up. What were my show notes on that one? Nothing really. I guess one.
God was shit.
Yeah. 38 was the fall winter movie draft. So that's when we were looking at, let's see, what were some of the movies for that? Oh no, I didn't have it written down. Anyway, all right. So
I remember that being a fun one too. You know what I did enjoy doing the movie ones, like the drafts. Maybe we can do it again without it actually being a full on.
Well, there's actually some websites and stuff that have started doing this, like kind of more professionally. And if we could just carve out our own little section for us, and I didn't have to keep up with it, yeah, it might be something we might want to look at doing. So.
Yeah.
Episode 39. The audio on this was not good, but it kind of went along with what we were talking about. And it was personal ghost stories. The fact that the one guy, Eric, was on and talked about living in a place that he thought was haunted or near a place that was haunted, and his audio kept having issues, was like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
We are not doing this on purpose.
Yes. My friend Laura was on that episode. I need to see if I can get her back on. She had a baby since then, and I think her sleep schedule's starting to get a little more settled, but I'll have to see. Okay, episode 40. This was so much fun, mainly because we'd have to have Cyrus back on for this one. And this was monster children books. And we took a children's book, and we had to add like monsters to it. And like, so I did the little engine that could survive the zombie horde.
That's right.
But Cyrus ended up reading some of these and did such a good job with these voices. I did brown werewolf. What do you see?
That's right. Forgot about that one.
That was a fun one. Let's see here.
I'm trying to remember which one I did with that one. I remember doing one. Anyway.
Let's see here. 8-bit modern horror movie games. That was a fun one.
Yep.
Where we came up with 8-bit versions of these horror movies. Because those are so bad.
It's so much fun though.
Wait, what? Is this another episode that I didn't actually host? Oh my God. Episode 42, Cyrus Live. This week, Cyrus goes mostly solo as he does a live show on YouTube with a chat room.
That's right. I remember this one because I jumped on.
Yeah, eventually Eugene, Ray, and Lewis show up to save the day.
Yeah.
I forgot about this episode. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this one. Oh, man.
Yeah. For some reason, we couldn't jump on. All of a sudden, I jumped on like partway through or something like that. And then, yeah.
Wow. Saya hosted the next one, too. Like, I completely forgot about this. Episode 43, the raw feed. Have you ever listened to Cold Open, listened to a little snippet at the beginning of the episode and thought, I wonder what led to that conversation? If so, here's the episode. So the regular structure. Yeah, that's right. We basically like didn't really have much of an episode, and we just kind of talked. We just kind of BS'd for a long time. We're like, let's just put that out. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, 44
crossover
was a. I'm sorry, 43 was also one. I was still putting the special intro in there by Alan Oppenheimer. So we had freaking Skeletor starting the show, which was awesome. Let's see here. Moving on. Come on, page load. Anyway, so moving on. Introduction to Marginally Geeky. We had talked about that. Episode 44 was crossovers. What was that one about?
So that was where you had to cross over a couple shows.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I did Real Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo. Marvel, Iron Man, and Seinfeld. I thought that would have been funny. Munsters, and of course, Addams Family. And then seeing Tallahassee show up from Zombieland in The Walking Dead. Yeah, that was another fun we might have to go back and do. So
yeah, we might have to do that one again.
Okay, this is one of my all-time favorite ones just because it was short, it was simple. Of course, Cyrus went way too long with it, but episode 45 was modern Charlie Brown specials.
Oh shit!
Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Okay, so just if you're listening, I need to go back and re-listen to that one. That one was so funny.
Charlie Brown.
The kids are in the middle. The kids are in middle school, and it's time for the talk. But Linus and the new girl in town are going a little too far. Find out why you should always wear protection. In It Burns When I Pee, Charlie Brown. That was a good one. You know what? I think for our next few episodes, I need to go back and revisit some of our stuff. So, episode 46, we did just the opposite of episode 1, which was awesome Hallmark ornaments. That was you, me, and Cyrus on that one.
We came with a good one.
We did the list again. NES games. We had our friend Laura back on with her husband because he was like, "I have to be on the show. I have to be on the show." We're like, "Sure, come on, dude." And then we did a holiday draft. That one turned out okay. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we did have now, even though we're technically on episode 101, technically we've recorded this is like episode 103, 104 because we had a couple of episodes that were not numbered, and the first one was for Rogue One, because when Rogue One came out, it blew everyone's mind, and we're like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah. There were some people that loved it, and there were some people that hated it.
And what's funny is the person who hated it has kind of turned around on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Episode 49, we did the best of 2016, where we talked about all of our favorite things from 2016. What all did I have on that one? I just want to look at that one real quick. 49. I said Rogue One, Captain America: Civil War. God, that was a good movie. TV show, Stranger Things, Westworld, Ghostbusters premiere. Oh, Lainey and I had so much fun at that. Trick or Treating with My Boys, Geekfest, Classic Game Fest. Yeah, there was a lot of, that was kind of a dumpster fire year, but I mean, there was some good stuff out of it. So,
yep.
And then this next one, I think episode 50. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that Jay came up with, if I remember correctly. And then, Jay came up with the idea for this one, and then didn't bother showing up for the episode. And this was iconic character deaths, and we're like, my God, this is depressing.
It was so depressing. I remember
because it was one right after another, and there was stuff on there that I had forgotten about, like Atreyu
so bad.
Oh, and then Sai telling us a story about he forgot about that part, was showing it to his daughter, and he was like, "Oh God, what have I done?"
Sounds like childhood forever. Yeah.
About this time, Picky Old Gamer joined us, and he actually joined us for an episode. And this was favorite movie soundtracks, was favorite episode 51. Of course, I had Transformers, Rocky, The Phantom Menace, mainly because I freaking love. It's got the traditional Star Wars on there, but then you also have the Duel of the Fates, which is fantastic. That was
right.
Let's see here. Moving on. We're getting there. Sean said that Monster Children book episode was hilarious. Yes, it was. So, let's see here. Episode number 52, Geek Holy Trilogies. That was an interesting one. We had Will on there, and we had some debates as to whether or not some stuff would have to be on there. I did not want to allow The Matrix. But I think I got outvoted. So
yeah, I still stand by my Ryan Reynolds trilogy. By the way, of Ferris Bueller, shit. Forgetting the first one, Van Wilder, and then Blade Trinity, and then him as Deadpool. I still think it fits. It's the same character. It's
basically, yeah. Let's see here. I was trying to think, could you update that one and instead do X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then do Deadpool, and then do Deadpool 2 just because of what Deadpool 2 does to X-Men.
I love that. If you haven't seen it,
too.
You're too late. But have you seen the extended version of that, by the way?
Do what now?
Have you seen the extended version of the ending?
No.
So the one that was released with the Blu-ray?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a little bit longer.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that out.
There's a baby involved.
I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds hilarious. Episode 54, Geek Astrological Signs. This was one that Lainey came up with.
Didn't she not come on?
No, she didn't.
No.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, this was
things, and then those people wouldn't show up.
Yeah, it was me, Cy, Jay, you, and Chris.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're like, really? Okay. Yeah, so I had to, try, I had to do research on that one too because I was like, I have no fucking clue about this. Yeah. Episode 55, board game to movie adaptations. This is one of the ones where Cy went overboard with, where he did his whole recorded intro to Uno, the movie. I would fucking watch it just from that trailer he came up with.
That was actually really well done.
That was really well done. Let's see here. SNES Classic Games List. Yep. This is where we were trying to come up with a list. You know what would be fun? Is going back and looking at the list that we came up with as to what actually came out.
That would be good.
Especially because there weren't 30 games. I think there were only 20 on the SNES Classic. So
I've got it here somewhere. So
let's see here. Okay, this is one that I thought I love this, but Cy did not quite get it until we started doing it.
Yeah.
The overly simplified movie plots. Writers successfully ruin kids' childhoods in an attempt to sell new toys. Transformers. Yeah, some of those were some of the ones that people came up with were hilarious. That's another one I need to go back and listen to.
Yeah, it was good. Or not just go back, but also like revisit that topic now that Cy gets it. I think.
Yeah, we should definitely go back and revisit that one. Extremely funny movie where a bunch of strangers try to kill the help. Clue. I did good on that one. Geeky Dark Rides. Now, this was one that Lainey came up with and showed up. I didn't even know what a dark ride was until she explained it. I was like, oh, no, that sounds cool. Because I did Arkham Horror. I did Starship Troopers. I still think that would have been awesome.
We came with some good ones.
Yeah, we may have to go back and do that one. How We Met. That was a fun one because that was our April 1st episode. And we all came up with these outlandish ways that we met each other. That was a fun episode.
So this was April. This was
April
of 2017, right?
Yep.
So we had not started planning the trip yet. I don't think.
That's crazy.
Or had we discussed it briefly? I can't remember. But there was a time when we discussed like meeting you or whatever, and then I remember Cy dropping something, and it was like, yeah, I can't talk about that yet. Like I have to watch that episode again, whichever one it was. But yeah, it was in around that time that we started discussing going down there. So
I may have to go back and start listening to some of these again. Awesome movie, Happy Meal toys. That was a pretty fun one. What's this one? I said Christmas Vacation, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, that would have been pretty good. So,
yep.
Going down rabbit holes. That was me, Cyrus, and Lainey talking about things that we just like start looking at, and the next thing we know, like 4 hours have passed with other people. Just going back and revisiting that one with other people. That would be fun to do. So, let's see here. 2017 summer movie game preview. That was another one. Yep. Do you really miss it? This is a fun one because I still see people post stuff and I'm like, yeah, I don't really miss it.
Yeah. I do miss Blockbuster though, going to Blockbuster, and
that's the main one that I feel everyone is divided on is Blockbuster is going to the movie rental store. So
going to rent something out and yeah.
Episode 64, Epic. I definitely need to go back and re-listen to this one. Epically Geeky, the board game, where we were trying to come up with an epically geeky board game. That probably would have changed quite a bit depending on the group that we have now.
It would change, yep.
Episode number 65, costume and prop making. This was a special episode I did with a couple of different cosplayers. I need to see if I can actually get them back on sometime or another to talk about stuff. Episode 66, arcade draft. Now, this was you, me, and Cy.
Yep.
And I had to apologize to you on this one. You said Mario Kart, and I was like, dude, they did not make a Mario Kart in the arcade. And sure enough,
up
at Bit Bar, I'm like, well, damn, there's a Mario Kart.
Yes, there was.
Like, as soon as I saw it, in fact, I think I saw it. I think it was at a guy's weekend. One of the guys' weekends, it was the one that was just the four of us. We went to Bit Bar for a little bit, and we walked in, and I looked over, and I was like, crap, I think, and Cy, I think, said the same thing. He goes, I think we owe Ray an apology. So if I haven't given it to you already, I'm sorry. Okay.
You did when we were there. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is that?
Episode 67, series that we've broken up with. Kind of going back to our opening topic, these were series that, we no longer watch and have, kind of fallen away from. So 68, live from Geekfest 2017. No, this was the preview. This was the little event that we did, and that was me, Cy, and Laney. So we got to get Cy back down here for Geekfest stuff. Epically Geeky Expo. So,
sorry, I was going to say EX.
Episode 69, the most generic. This was when we were coming up with like generic versions of cereal. Like I had Couscous Krispies. Let's see here. Unlucky Charms. We got a broken mirror shards, black cats, ladders, spilled salt. The number 13, the number 666. No point umbrella.
Re-listen to that one because that was
that was a fun one. Being a Ghostbuster, this was also another special episode where it was me, Laney, and two of the guys that ended up going on to supposedly running Ghostbusters with me, even though I've been doing it myself. Episode 71, it's basically the same movie. This was you, me, and Cyrus again. We were talking about how, this movie is basically the other thing, like Doc Hollywood, or Cars is basically Doc Hollywood. The Lion King is Hamlet with lions. That was a pretty fun one.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit that one for sure.
Yeah. Episode 72, the name game. What was that one?
I remember this one a bit. Throw the synopsis because I think it's...
Okay, let's see here. The name. Okay, this is the one where you combine two different names and they go together. So a pilot frozen in 1939 awakens in 1992, starts to rapidly age as he travels to Transylvania to discover how to reanimate dead bodies. Forever young Frankenstein. Yeah.
We had to give the synopsis of it.
Yeah.
So we had to come up with the movie and combine two movies, and then that's another fun one. We'd have to do something like that again.
Yeah. When a massive river of slime is found under the streets of New York, a cop turned street racer recruits his childhood friend to help. Ghostbusters Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back and do that one again. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
You could combine that with like the dice and which movies you have to combine, and then
that would be interesting. D23 SDCC 2017 wrap up. So we basically just talked. It was you, me, Cy, and Chris talking about everything that happened at those two big events, because that was a huge thing for that year. Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, Behind the Scenes, The Last Jedi, Avengers Infinity War, announcing Wreck-It Ralph 2, which still hasn't come out, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2.
Wreck-It just came out.
Yeah. Let's see here. Episode 74, Canadian Invasion. What was that one about?
That was us coming down, and it was us talking about our...
Oh, that's right.
Your impression on our treats that we brought, and...
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
I still miss Freebirds, but
I actually had it last night. Like Christy was gone. The boys were doing stuff. I was like, what am I going to eat for dinner? I was like, I'm fucking going to get rewords.
Yeah, jerk.
Episode 75, live from Geekfest 2017. The second to last Geekfest ever. Let's see here. 76, When I Grow Up University. This is one of the ones that my brother and I had talked about forever that we finally did an episode on. That was pretty fun.
Yep.
Con Life Drinking Game. This turned out to be just me and Cosplay Meg, which was interesting. Need to try to have her back on sometime. Favorite Halloween things. This was probably definitely a Laney idea. Let's see here. The list. Scariest movies. What's funny is it was me and Jay, and our guest at the time was Chris Lake. He's now my partner at work. Like,
oh, no way.
He's the one that ended up. I was waiting to try to get on as my partner, and he's come on board as my partner at work. So,
nice.
Episode 80, Being a Geeky Girl. This was me, Jen, Cosplay Meg, and another friend of ours, Jana. And what was funny is that the episode went really well, and then afterwards, like they started being even more real about some of the stuff they have to go through, and I'm like, well, hell, I'm tacking this on. This is what I was really wanting to get in the show. So
that's awesome.
Episode 81, reboot, remake, or sequel 2. We did that one again.
Yep.
So, but see, hell, that's been 20 some odd episodes. Like, we could definitely do that again. That's definitely hasn't been, why do you keep scrolling up, webpage? Stop that. All right. We're getting close. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
As long as it will load. There it goes. Okay. Episode number 82. I just don't get it. That was a fun one because that was one of those ones that's just like, I learned some good stuff from that one, specifically Lainey and her, not fear, just her aversion to furries. And so what's funny is anytime we go to a con, we see a furry, I'm like, lady, go talk to him. She's like, no, don't do it.
Go hug the furry.
Yeah. The next episode was another non-numbered. This was the other one that wasn't numbered. Another one that we had to do an episode on, The Last Jedi discussion. That was you, Sai, me, and Jen. Definitely were 4 different opinions on this movie.
Yeah. And
continue to be. Episode 83 was Best of 2017 Media. So we talked about our favorite things from the media. Episode 84, the most anticipated for 2018. Let me go back and look and see what all was on that list real quick. Let's see here. Westworld, which I still haven't watched. Electric Dreams, still haven't watched. Altered Carbon, still haven't watched. Infinity War, I watched. Black Panther, yes. I still haven't seen Incredibles 2. Ready Player One, I saw.
You know what? Ready Player One's still one that it's hard for me to watch because I love the book so much.
I know, and there are other people, like Jennifer's the same way. Like when we went to Bit Bar after Geekfest, it was playing, and she was just like, I can't. I'm like, I understand. I like the movie because I like it for what it is. Is it the book? No. But it's a fun movie. So
it's a fun movie, yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is I was actually listening to a podcast where someone said they literally in a night watched Jaws, and then the next thing they watched was Ready Player One, and they're like, my God, these movies are like 40 years apart, and it's the same director, and you can still see his fingerprint all the way through it. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yep.
So, let's see here. Episode 85, Dating as a Geek. This did not work out as well as I was hoping because it was, let's see, a married guy, married couple, another married couple, and then one single person.
Okay, but I want to say this, though. We captured very different versions, right? We had the single person, right? Then we had the newlyweds because they were just, like, they were still in their first year or two, right? Like,
true, yes.
So they were pretty new into it. And then, we had the older version with you and I and Chris, where we've been married for a while. And so it was kind of cool in that way that we were having different discussions. As for the actual dating part of it, no, I couldn't. Yeah.
I may have to We have to try to do that one again with people who are actually, dating. Here's another fun one. Episode 86, Explaining Cartoon Logic.
Yeah, that was...
The boys watched this show on YouTube called Combo Panda. And it's like a Let's Play video, but the guy talking is an animated panda bear. And I looked at it and I looked at Christy. I said, Christy, why are his headphones here and his ears up here? And she's like, I don't know. Why would you think about that? I'm like, because I think about it all the time. And so does Chris. And so does Ray. So does Jen. So does everyone else.
So, and there was a movie. It was a Disney movie, Zootopia. They actually corrected a few of those things.
That's right. Yeah, they did. Man, that was a good movie. I couldn't. That movie was much better than I thought it was. It should.
Oh yeah, it was a lot better than I thought.
Yeah. Episode 87, Media That We Should Have Seen by Now. That was an interesting episode. Because that was stuff that we're all like, yeah, I probably should have seen this by now, but I haven't yet. So, and let's see here. Of the things that are on that, haven't seen, haven't caught up yet, haven't seen yet, haven't seen.
You got some work to do there.
I got some work to do. But when I'm making stuff, it's hard. Anyway, Ultimate Toy Store Draft, of course, with Toys R Us going out. That was another fun one.
So at Fan Expo in Toronto there on the weekend, there was somebody cosplayed as the Toys R Us draft.
Nice.
And around. Now, one thing that I didn't see that I wish he would have had was something like "We'll give toys for money" or something like that. Like just any. Anyway, he was just walking around giving people hugs. That was hilarious.
That's awesome. I bet a lot of people wanted a hug too. They're like, "It's okay, Jeffrey." Episode 89, Pop Culture Mini Golf. That was a fun one. That was me, Lainey, and Jay doing that one.
89 mini golf one was really interesting because, we should revisit it if we can, because I think it'd be fun to like make up another. It was like make your own amusement park and stuff like that, right? Like,
yeah,
those ones are always fun.
Yeah. First and last, I got this idea from another podcast that I was listening to where we basically talked about either the first or the last of something. Let's see here. What was that one? No, that was 90. That was not. This is 90. So like your first car, the last TV series you binged, the first music device you ever owned, stuff like that. So that was a fun one. Yep. All right, and we're getting up to the new list here. We're up in the top 10 or the last 10, I should say. Oh, come on, webpage. What do you keep doing that? Let's see here. So 91, Avengers Infinity War discussion. Now, this was the third movie review that we did, or discussion that we did, but I went ahead and put it into the numbering system because I'm like, well, this is going to become a thing. So, yep. Plus, I was at this point also already planning towards trying to have episode 100 at Geekfest. I was like, I need to get every episode I can in my belt.
Trying to get 100 at Geekfest.
Yeah. And of course that, okay, so here's what's interesting. And I didn't put it on my pick or pan for the week, but I love movies with Mikey. With Mikey.
Yep.
And I almost 99% of the time I agree with him. His last one he just put out was a discussion on Thanos. Have you watched that one?
I have started it, and I understand. I do like the way that he opened it, and the way that he said, "I am not here to change your mind."
Exactly.
So at least I like that. But I have not actually discussed, or I haven't actually watched the whole thing yet. But I plan on doing that when I'm having to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Let's just say I have a difference of opinion, but I also like the way he described his opinion on the movie is definitely the most eloquent way I've I've heard it put, and I completely understand. Not that I was going to argue with anyone. Anyway, it's your opinion. If you didn't like the movie or didn't like certain things about the movie, that's your opinion. But the way he put it was like, okay, I understand why you really didn't care for certain things. So,
and I also like that he at the very beginning as well, he explained that like some of this was pretty shitty year for him. And,
yes.
And so part of his feeling towards the movie was likely because of how shitty of a year it was.
Yeah.
He just felt like this was the gut punch. So
yeah, so that may definitely check it out when you get a chance. So
yep.
Episode 92, what kills a sitcom? Oh no, that was the opening question. Sitcom spinoff possibilities, where we talked about, sitcoms that we might like to see things spun off from. And the one that I was like, I was like, I don't know, this is a golden cow. I don't know if I can touch this one or not. I don't know if this is blasphemous. Was Golden Girls, and you were like, nope, fucking doing it. And I was like, all right, let's go.
I still would I would love to see it. I'd love to see Betty White in the Sophia role, right? Where she's now the older one, and she's telling, you get no, I picked Rose, or I can't remember the three that I picked, but there are some amazing actresses out there that I would love to see get together in some way and do that. Why not? Right? Like,
yep.
Anyway.
No, yeah, that was, yeah. I'm so glad you pulled that one up, because I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to mention this or not.
Well, listen, so at Fan Expo, I saw they were selling mystery boxes of Golden Girls. It was specifically merchandise for Golden Girls, and the box was a mystery box. And it had Golden Girls all over it. There was a woman that she was selling backpacks and pencil cases and all the stuff that she made, and she had Golden Girls fabric. Like, it's time to bring them back.
Yeah, it might be, because there's so many people our age that grew up watching it with their parents and stuff. Yeah. So, and then Betty White's a national treasure. So
yes, she is.
No, episode 93, last food burger meal, last fast food burger meal, and this one was just me and Chris. This was one of those few episodes that was just like two people. And I was like, have we ever done one with just two people? But we carried through. Of course, it was interesting because, Chris is not a huge burger person, but we did a good job. So
I did mine via a paper. It was,
yeah.
She did mine out for me.
Let's see here. Another movie discussion, Solo. This was another one that was very, I don't want to say controversial, but there were differences of opinions on this one. So
you know what? So looking back, when I did watch it, I going through the whole movie and everything, I'm like, this is better than I was expecting. Like, I was expecting a very good movie, and maybe that's just because I didn't like who they picked for Solo or whatever. But it's the ending of that movie that just, I'm like, okay, I have to see the next one.
Exactly. Yes. I was like, by the time it was over, I was like, yeah, I want to see more adventures with this guy as Han. So,
and I hope they continue, but
we'll see. Episode number 95, other things that we geek out over. This is when we were talking about things that weren't necessarily geeky. Cy jumped back in on this one. It'd been a long time since he'd been on. We're like, hell yeah, come on back, dude. Like I said, I talked about, woodworking, metalwork. We got to talk about a bunch of that stuff. Barbecue, smoking stuff. Episode 96, 70s pop culture. This is when we started our pop culture run through. This was fun.
I'm glad that we did the 70s, and I wasn't sure we would, but it got me to research what the 70s were about a little bit more, and it was pretty cool to go through that.
I'm the same way. I was like, do we want to start with the 70s, since most of us, like, some of us were born in late 70s, a lot of us weren't even born in the 70s, and it's like, no, let's kind of take a look at it. And then I'm like you, the more I researched, the more I was like, wow, like, this is the genesis of modern pop culture. So, and then of course we ran through the rest of them. 98 was, episode 97 was 80s pop culture. And my wife joined us, which was a lot of fun because she dressed up, and Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Still think the 80s is the best. The 90s pop culture. We had, some of the younger folks on and talked about that. And then, of course, we got to 2000s pop culture. And, yeah, there's just been, there's just been some good stuff. And then, of course, we get to episode 100, which was our last episode. And that was, we had to record twice. We literally set it up and recorded it on a Friday night, and something was kind of wonky. I wasn't sure what was happening. And then literally as I'm closing everything down, I look and see that it did not record. And I was like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to record episode 100 like in 2 weeks from now, which would have sucked because this would have been episode 100. It would have just been us two. And we were like, yay. I'm like, do y'all want to do this again? Can we do this again? And everyone was like, yeah, sure. Let's go for it. Let's do it. So we recorded again. We had a blast doing it at Geekfest. And of course we got to do the announcement, the official announcement that, it's no longer Geekfest and it's going to be, Epically Geeky Expo from here on out. So, which, if you didn't know that, surprise, surprise. But yeah, so, yeah, that's what was happening with that. So, and that was our first 100. There's definitely some things we need to go back and look at, some topics that we could definitely hit again with either updated eyes or just new people who weren't on that original episode just to hear their thoughts on it. So
I would love for Jen and Lainey to do the action figures.
Yes,
I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like episode 20 when we were going to do unfinished business. No.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Well,
But,
your action figure would now have a 3D printer. So.
True. It may have to have a 3D printer. Well, that is our show for the week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not quite sure when we're going to have another episode. I think probably what's going to happen is we're going to take a little time off just because we're recording Marginally Geeky, not this coming week, but the week after on Wednesday. And then that following Saturday when we would normally do an episode is when we're going to do our live recording for our live well, I'm sorry. I talked about this in the pre-show. I didn't actually talk about this on the show, so I guess I need to announce it properly. If you were following the Marginally Geeky show, we have been reading a book series by Scott Meyer called the Magic 2.0 series. And if you check my Instagram feed and stuff, you'll see that me and Jennifer and Lainey all cosplayed as characters from the book. And as a result, the author has agreed to do an interview with us. So on September 15th, we're going to do a live interview a little bit earlier than we normally do the show. It's going to be at 6:30 Central Time. We're going to do a live interview with Scott Meyer, the author of the books. So we'll probably not do a live show later on that night. I think my dad's coming in town and they wanted to play board games, so I think I'm going to go over and play board games after that. And then the next weekend is Austin Comic-Con, so I'll be busy all that weekend. So it's probably going to be closer to 4 weeks before we have another Epically Geeky show proper. So, but there may be some big changes coming up as well between now and then. I don't know if they're all going to happen, but we're looking at changing up some of like the intro stuff. We're looking at changing up the site. It just kind of depends. Got a lot of stuff, going on. Of course, I've constantly got stuff going on, but but we'll let you know if changes are coming, and nothing bad by any means. We're going to keep doing this, so that's definitely not a thing. Don't even worry about that. So, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans for the week. Ray, you got a pick or a pan?
Yeah. So pick that. I'm going to start with my pan first, actually, because we went to Fan Expo, and I was so excited because of there were quite a few people that I wanted to see, or at least try to. Right, like there was Ray Park, he was going to be there, and with his reprisal of Darth Maul, I thought that'd be really cool. And then there was, but he had to cancel, and then there was. Anyway, so the biggest bummer for me was looking at the prices for some of the people for autographs. Some of them are, $45, $60, $80, and yeah, that gets up there, but it is what it is. I get that Fan Expo has to pay for it. My biggest complaint, and this will be my pan. I love Michael J. Fox, and he stands for a lot of great stuff. But at $225 for an autograph, I'm sorry, I can't swallow that.
It's a bit much, yes.
And I know it's not him that sets the price. I know it's the it's the Fan Expo that does that. But when you put he's a national treasure, right? Like you talk about Betty White being a national treasure for you guys.
Yep.
Michael J. Fox is a national treasure for Canada, and to have him come out and do this, and you set your prices that high, I don't like that. You're just trying to benefit off of, and so anyway, I didn't like that. I thought it was pretty.
I completely agree.
We've already paid our money to come into the expo. I don't mind paying the extra 40, 60, 80s pushing it, but $225, not even going there. Like Stanley wasn't even that, right? Like Stanley was not even half that. I think it was like $100. And the only reason why we did it was because it was Stan frickin' Lee, and it was his last Fan Expo ever.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my pan. My pick is that we were able to get to Fan Expo, and we got to see a lot of cool cosplays. Quinn got to play around with the upcoming Forza, and they had the full chair, and he's driving along, and it had the haptic feedback and stuff like that in the steering wheel.
Nice.
Logan got to meet 3 of the voice actors from Voltron. She's got a poster that's signed by those 3 now.
I saw that. That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool. Quinn got to get his Master Sword, and he's ready to be Link for Halloween.
Nice.
So we're going to be making that up and finding out which one is his favorite Breath of the Wild armor, and we'll make that up for Halloween. So
hopefully it's not the black techno, black glowing techno armor, but
it's not going to happen. No, we can't do that one. So, but yeah, no, it was an awesome weekend. We had a lot of fun. Got down there safely, got home safely, and yeah.
Good deal. I'm gonna carry over just so that I have a good one. Epically Geeky Expo, well, formerly Geekfest, was so much fun. We had a blast. The announcement party was really cool on Sunday. Everyone seemed pretty positive. I mean, they thought it sucked that we were having to change the name, but they were, seemed pretty excited about it. And of course, moving forward, it's going to be, instead of Geekfest, it's going to be the Epically Geeky Expo. So our little site has its own con now. That's so cool. But yeah, so that's going to be happening. That's definitely my pick. That I had so much fun at it, and of course, doing the kids cosplay contest was a blast. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I have two pans. They're both kind of minor. One, I actually just thought about because of what you just said. Not to try to be that guy that has to say, well, if you think that's bad, wait till you hear my story. In a couple of weeks here, or no, when is this happening? Oh, this is going to be in October. End of October is Alamo City Comic-Con.
Yep.
And for his first appearance at any con ever, Rick Moranis is going to be there. And I was like, oh shit, I got to see if I can get Rick Moranis to maybe sign my Proton Pack. So I contact the con. I'm like, because we actually have an event scheduled. Me and Lainey and Jasmine have an event scheduled that weekend at the Beltonian, and we're like, okay, well maybe we can sneak down there Sunday or whatever. So I contacted him like, hey, is he going to be? What days he's going to be there? Is he going to be signing autographs? This, that, and the other. And they wrote back in there like, well, he has a limited time. He's only going to be on there on Saturdays. He's not going to be like signing at a booth. It's just going to be for the VIP holders. So I'm like, all right, well, how much is the VIP? The Dark Helmet VIP is $800. And of course, I told Christy this, and she's like, "You are not doing that." I'm like, "No, I am not doing that. I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that for Bill Murray." Nope. But yeah, $800. Are you kidding me? so that kind of sucks. Maybe who knows? Maybe he'll show up at this Ghostbusters Fan Festival next year that I'm hoping to go to. We'll see. My other one is and this is what's sad. This should be a pick. This should always be a pick.
Yeah.
Last night my boys went to my mom's house and had a sleepover with their cousins. That should be a pick. My wife went with some friends to they had free tickets to go to a demolition derby they hadn't been to. They went to it, had fun. They had fun. I stayed up and started working on this foam proton pack that I'm working on. And got up this morning, got the boys. We went and ate lunch, had to go take care of some stuff. The reason why this is a pan is we go to pick them up and they're not wearing the same clothes. Like they're not wearing, like Alex has on one of his cousin's shirts and I think his brother's shorts. So everything is baggy on him. His brother is wearing the correct shirt, but he's wearing his little brother's shorts. So they look like biker shorts on him. I'm like, Nick, seriously?
What's going on?
But as the day goes on, they're both tired because they didn't get to sleep until like 11 or so. Supposedly, they got up at some point. At least a couple of them got up or were sneaking around the house. Nicholas got up at one point because he was getting crowded out of the bed sleeping with his cousin, so he went and slept with my mom. Then they all got up early, so needless to say, they were all super tired. And it's just like... and we've already told them next time y'all have a sleepover at Granny's house, we're gonna have a come to Jesus with Granny. Like there's just gonna have to be Granny. You have got to put them to bed at this time, or they can't come over because it was as much as it was nice to not have them and to be able to just kind of do whatever we wanted on a Friday night. It was not today did not make that worth it, and it's just like, come on, Granny. So, but something about people when they become grandparents, they're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to...
They're done raising. That's
yes,
why.
I'm done raising. I can just have fun with them. Like, you're not going to have fun with them if you're going to let them be... Yeah. So anyway, but that is what it is. So that is our show for the week, ladies and gentlemen. If you would, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Music. You can find us at epicallygeeky.com. Like I said, I'm thinking about redoing the site. Who knows when we'll actually get to it. You can find us at Epically Geeky on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Where can we find you online, Ray?
Yeah, so you can find me here. You can find me Marginally Geeky. Still got to talk to Lainey about that bruise, Rhythm and Brews. That's going to be a fun one to do. Just have to figure out time and all that stuff with her. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Lake Life Artist.
And yeah, let me go ahead and just pump that up one more time. So like I said, on September 12th, we're doing the live recording of Book 5 of the Magic 2.0 series. And then that following Saturday, so in 2 weeks, on the 15th, we're doing our first ever author interview with Scott Meyer. So hopefully you can join us for that one. So that should be a lot of fun. And as always, if you want to follow my individual wacky adventure, you can find me at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.